Number 2 is to begin to draw out sweeter possibilities. To draw out sweeter possibilities. I was having a conversation one time with a couple, and one of their children came up, and the child said, "I'm bored." And the father stopped and he said, "Son, you're bored because you're boring. Go be interesting." I don't know what the son thought of that, but I thought it was brilliant. I've never forgotten it. I thought, wow, you're boring because you're bored because you're boring. Hello. But if our life is lifeless, dull, or boring, go be interesting. Get interested in something. Draw out sweeter possibilities. That, again, it is we who have the capacity to draw out sweeter possibilities. I love what George Bernard Shaw said. He said, "This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being thoroughly worn out before you are thrown on the scrap heap. The being a force of nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy." Draw out sweeter possibilities. We fill ourselves with spirit. We draw out sweeter possibilities. Number 3, don't settle for less than your best. How many of us have tolerated certain things so long that they've become part of our basic assumptions? We don't even know we're tolerating them. Yeah. That's why fresh eyes are so helpful, because new people see things that we saw a long time ago and couldn't change it at the time, and now we've become so acclimated and accustomed we don't even know we can change it. Don't settle for less than your best. I remember when I owned my very first home, it was painted, it had fresh paint on it, but it was the ugliest color of green I had ever seen in my life. And there were a few things about that house that I never did like. And so when I got ready to sell it, guess what I did? I got it just like I'd always wanted it. And of course it sold immediately, and I sat there those couple of weeks thinking, why didn't I do this for me? How many times do we do that? Who has china that you never use for yourself? Who has those wonderful things that we hardly ever do? We save it for someone else. Don't settle for less than your best. I'm always looking for people and companies that I find inspirational. And since moving to the Pacific Northwest, I've taken a real interest in something that is probably near and dear to most of your hearts. How many of you like coffee? I won't take a poll of hands here, but how many of you like Starbucks? Well, I didn't really like Starbucks until I moved here. Now, let me tell you, I'm loving some Starbucks for a lot of reasons. But the most compelling reason is because of some of the things that I've learned as I began to investigate that company. And what caused me to investigate the company is every time I walk into a Starbucks, I like the way I feel. I tune into a vibe that feels like community. It's just, I have a vision that our bookstore is going to have that same vibe. Amen? How about that? Why settle for less? Why settle for less? We have the power to change that. So I started thinking about that, and then I started reading, and you probably know this, but Starbucks actually started at Pike Place Market. It started as just a little whole bean roaster, and when they had 6 stores, Howard Schultz took over the business. At the time, there were the 6 stores specializing in coffee beans. In 5 years, they went from 6 stores to 165. Today, they have over 11,000 stores in over 37 countries, and each week over 35 million customer visits. Now, this is what really inspired me about him and what they're doing. He said, we're not in the coffee business serving people, we're in the people business serving coffee. They have been noted as a societal change agent. A societal change agent. Now, whether we particularly like them or their brand or that individual, to me that doesn't really matter. What matters to me is when a person has a vision that says, I'm not going to settle for anything less than my best, you can revolutionize a whole industry. And if one person can revitalize a whole industry and make a simple cup of coffee, I mean, do you remember when there used to be 4 choices? Do you want it black? Do you want cream? Do you want sugar? Or do you want cream and sugar? And today, Starbucks has over 87,000 drink combinations, they say. It's almost unfathomable. I am asking us to revolutionize our life. And Unity Church of Edgewood. Why not? Can anybody think of a reason? Why not? We begin by filling ourselves with Spirit. We draw out sweeter possibilities. We don't settle for less. And number 4, the most important, is remember the God force is with you. A man that is known as Bill W. hit the bottom of his life. He's the founder of AA. In my opinion, a 12-step program is one of the most powerful spiritual movements on the face of the earth. Why? Because it is based on the premise that an individual in their current situation who has addictions or a life that is not working, or who has the subtleties of lifelessness, dullness, and boringness, an individual who has that is in a state of saying, you know what? I don't know how to create anything differently in my current state of mind. And I believe in a higher power that can help. And when I am willing to admit that right here, right now, I'm stuck, I don't know how to get unstuck. But, and I do believe in a higher power that has the capacity to see me through this change. That's remembering our God force. In Unity, we say that the presence of God is within you, and sometimes I think individuals visualize like a raisin in a bun, and we're looking for God, exactly where is God in us. But when we say that the presence of God is within, what we're saying is there's more to you than just you, Michael, than just this man that I see, than just your thoughts and just your emotions. That every individual is a multi-dimensional being, and that in the all that you are is connected to all that is. And therefore, within the fullness of all that you are lies God and your connection to your center, to God. And when we remember that, when we remember that connection, we don't have to know how to get from point A to point B. We are willing to get from point A to point B, and we take those simple steps and we keep asking, and as guidance is given, we keep following. We fill ourselves with Spirit. We draw out sweeter possibilities. We do not settle for less than our best. We remember the God forces with us, and then we repeat daily. Every day is a clean slate. Every day is an opportunity to begin anew.